I really was going towards a two. I was going towards a
Yeah.
two, in the end, the thing that stopped me giving this a two, and what I'm going to talk about is Scott Pilgrim takes off.
Oh yeah.
What stops me from giving it a two is I have to admit that it is well made. It is well made, and I think part of what made me want to give it a two is because everybody raves about it. And when everybody raves about something and I don't get it,
Mm.
and I don't, it really, really annoys me because I feel like I don't see what people are talking about, and it feels to me like people are just jumping on a bandwagon and just saying, we must make this thing great. Oh, we must tell everybody it's great. And I'm like, no, it isn't. It isn't universally great. And I know this will get you, especially because I saw the trailer for Furiosa this week.
Oh.
Yeah. So I saw it. But Sean, this is the thing. I felt this way about the last Mad Max movie, which I know you love.
Yeah, I love. Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel exactly this way. I was like, everybody is hyping this thing, and it's not supposed to be hyped. It's not that great. So I'm like sitting here going, okay, fine, and that's why I didn't. That's why I'm giving it a three. So I'll come out for it. So this is Scott Pilgrim takes off. You guys might remember Scott Pilgrim versus the World,
Yes,
which
I do.
was
Yeah. I didn't
yeah.
mind that. That was Edgar Wright, wasn't it?
That was Edgar Wright. Yeah, it was Edgar Wright. It was based on a series of graphic novels called by a guy called Brian O'Malley, and and Scott Pilgrim versus the World was a film that got hyped to the hilt. That I've tried going back and watching it, and I still don't think it holds together that well. There's something about it. There's something about the slacker pace of it, or anything like that. It has everything in it that I should love. It's very, very video game done. It's kind of like fighting all these bosses, all this. It has a brilliant cast who are all being funny and everything like that. But there's something about Scott Pilgrim versus the World that I just can't get with, and I just don't like, and I just think it's overhyped. So this is an animated TV show in which Edgar Wright gets back, and the entire cast. And I'm not joking. If there's a character in the film of Scott Pilgrim versus the World, that character is voiced by the exact same person in the TV show. Bearing in mind that the entire cast of Scott Pilgrim versus the World have become incredibly famous. You have Aubrey Plaza, Michael Cera, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, what's the name? No, Brie Larson, who I actually forgot was in Scott Pilgrim film. Brie Larson comes back to voice a tiny character in this. Brandon Routh, Chris Evans, Jason Schwartzman, all of them come back, and that's one of them. And the way this starts off, it starts off in pretty much exactly the same way as the film. So you have Scott Pilgrim, he's a slacker who's going out with somebody called Knives Chow, who we're not really entirely sure. Well, where everybody's like, well, you're going out with a 17-year-old, you're 25, you're going out with a 17-year-old. And he's like, well, no, we're not really going out because she thinks they're going out, he doesn't. And then he meets this girl, Romano Flowers, who's kind of like the girl of his dreams, almost literally. And it's about when he starts finding something that she has like 7 evil exes. So much so, it follows the format of the film. And you're thinking, am I just watching an animated remake of the film? Then something changes, and then the entire series is kind of like a what if. It's kind of like, it's like, oh, what if we change this one thing? How do things change? And so you have like 8 episodes, which is going off in a different way. There's still elements of the film in it. There's still 7 evil exes and all that kind of stuff, but it's going off in a different way than it did in the film. A lot of characters who got given short shrift in the film, who show up for one scene and disappear, they get more to do here. But and quite frankly, it's almost as if they've taken Scott Pilgrim and they've switched it so that it's actually more about Ramona Flowers. It's more about Romano because my daughter, my 3-year-old daughter, was watching it with me. And after a while, she was like, Daddy, I want to watch Ramona Flowers.
Ooh,
Instead of saying, I want to watch Scott Pilgrim, she was like, I want to watch Ramona Flowers, which kind of tells you where the
emphasis is.
the focus is or where the emphasis is. So it's almost kind of like a different take on the same thing in the film. But once again, I was watching this just going, I'm not sure I'm the target audience for Scott Pilgrim, but everything says I should be the target audience for Scott Pilgrim. But I'm watching this thing and I'm getting annoyed because they're not really moving the story along that quickly. There's huge swathes where, as far as I'm concerned, nothing really seems to happen. They change this thing and move this person over there, and that person takes over there, and you're like, what was the point of that? And I found myself getting quite annoyed, quite frankly. I found myself getting quite annoyed, especially because this has been hyped to the heavens. I know it's going to be hyped to the heavens. I know that if anybody even watches me talking about this, they're probably going to go, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Scott Pilgrim's awesome. And I'm like, it probably is for you. But for me, I don't quite get it. I got annoyed by it. By the time it ended, I was happy that it ended. And I was going to be like, my visceral reaction, even though I think me taking away one of these stars is just a reaction to everybody hyping it and telling me I'm supposed to love it and me not loving it. I think that's part of what's going on here. So that's why I have to come back. I have to be, okay, take some time, look at it. It is well made. The fight scenes are good, even though I think that those were overhyped as well. Like there was bits where one of the makers was talking about, oh, there's a fight scene in episode 2 that if we did that in live action, it would be way too expensive. And they were talking about this fight, and I watched this thing and I was like, huh? But I was like, that wasn't that great. That wasn't that great. I mean, I reviewed My Dad, the Bounty Hunter season 2 last week. There's much better fight scenes in that, as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, so I would give it a 3. I would give Scott Pilgrim Takes Off a 3. If you liked the film, then I would say watch it. If you like the film, watch it because there'll be something in there for you. It was interesting seeing the way they've played with the story and how you can take the same basic elements and make a totally different story. I think that's actually quite good from an intellectual point of view. But sitting down there, I was not really enjoying it, watching it at all. And I was just kind of like, I need to finish this thing, mainly because I can talk about it. If I finish it, then I can talk about it and I can tell everybody why I don't like it. But if I don't finish watching it, I can't. So yeah, 3 stars for Scott Pilgrim Takes Off.